Hello and welcome to the Rock Your Voice podcast. Vocal coaching tips that will transform your voice, interviews that will inspire, industry guidance, and so much more. Without further ado, let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome to today's episode. Today I've got 5 top tips for voice health during festival season. This one's going to be a double header because I want to spend this episode talking about the factors and elements that can impact your voice while you are out on the road doing the festival circuit, or perhaps you're a big music fan and you want to make sure that your voice stays in check while you're going to all of these festivals. Things like Burning Man and, all these dusty, crazy environments are not the best for our voices. The ironic thing too that I do want to mention is I always wake up, I have my coffee, I get all fired up and I'm like, I want to record a podcast right now. So it's currently 8 o'clock Canada Day, which is a holiday here. And I've had way too much coffee and my voice always sounds a little husky when I record these podcasts, which is ironic for a voice coach, but that's why. So I just wanted you to know. But yes, today is Canada Day. I have a lot of clients who are out and about performing at festivals and special events. I've also had my client Nolene Hoffman, who was on the podcast just a few episodes ago. She was just touring with Zach Bryan over in Europe. She just played Hyde Park to massive shows. So like all these cool events that clients are doing. So my job is to make sure that their voices stay in shape while they're doing all of this stuff, because sure, it's all great and it's all fun doing all these things, but people are paying to come and see you and they want to, you want to deliver your best for this. So here are some tips to help keep your voice in check. But I think one of the most important things is understanding why your voice can go a little bit off the rails. So firstly, if you're touring for festival season and you're on the road a bunch, you're going to be getting probably tired. Your schedule is going to be a little bit off. You're going to be staying in different places that you're not used to. Your body's not going to be completely relaxing. So you're going to be getting tired. There are several factors that I will always bring up when a client's voice is sounding a little bit out of whack. Things like stress, sleep, diet, hormones. And then, of course, when we're talking about festival season, travel and time zones comes into play. And then the fun factor, because we like to have fun when we're doing all these exciting things. And under the bracket of fun, I would say things like alcohol, late nights, loud crowds, maybe even smoking. There's certain things that come under that where it's like, this is just like the time of my life. I'm doing things that I didn't think I'd imagine and things are going a little bit crazy. Let's go. So sadly, we have to be aware of the fun factor as well. But yes, when we're talking about travel, you're also looking at things like AC, all of that, recycled air on airplanes, buses, all of that kind of stuff. So just be aware of your environment. So in that case, you can take care of yourself, making sure that you have maybe a voice mist nebulizer, something like that, or you have a way to steam, perhaps even like a navage to flush stuff out of there if you tend to get kind of phlegmy and mucousy. Yeah, this episode might get a little bit gross, so if you're a little squeamish, if you're a little sensitive to things like that, just a heads up, because we might talk about some of the icky stuff. But yeah, so ways to kind of flush out, ways to hydrate, because your body is not necessarily used to everywhere that you're going to be going, especially if it is like a dusty, dry, sandy space. Like there's a lot of festivals on beaches too. Like I mentioned, Burning Man, it's like, it's not voice friendly at all. And of course, we're going to be summertime, probably very high temperatures that you're not really used to singing in, because you might be coming out of, especially if you're in Canada, like a winter hibernation where you're in arenas and in halls and indoor venues for sure, and then suddenly you're outdoors in the elements, in the sun. So making sure that you're hydrating like crazy. And I don't just mean show day. Literally, the minute you step out of your home to embark on this festival tour, that is when you start hydrating. You need to be thinking about hydration the day before the show. Make sure that you're getting all of your water, include electrolytes. Now, that doesn't have to mean fancy stuff that you have to lug around with you. You can literally take, making sure it's a good quality Celtic sea salt, and you'll probably be able to find this pretty much everywhere you're traveling in just like the grocery stores. just a good quality Celtic sea salt, a pinch of that, a small pinch. We're not drinking salt water. You shouldn't even taste it. But like a few flakes into your water will help your body absorb the water more so than just flushing through your system. But either way, water, hydration all the way. Careful not to get sucked into like specialty drinks that aren't actually doing very much for you, full of sugar and all that stuff. So just make sure that you're getting your hydration. You're avoiding too much caffeine, because if you're battling time zones, you're going to want to reach for the coffee or something that's going to wake you up. And also teas. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm chugging all of my tea. Make sure that your tea is either caffeine free, low in caffeine, and not kind of like a stimulant that's going to dry you out as well. I'm going to talk about the Vocal Zone teas in a little bit here. They are lifesavers. Vocal Zone actually was something that I used to use all the time back in music school, and they've now come out with different flavors of these pastels that I was literally carried around with me everywhere in music school and when I was on the road as an artist. So now there's different flavors that are, like, let's just be honest, much nicer. And they've got teas, and they literally just launched a throat spray as well. So I'm going to share a bit more about that further down the road, because thanks to Vocal Zone, they're actually a sponsor of this episode. So thank you, team. And this two-parter is a collaboration with Vocal Zone. So I am going to share about them, not just because they're a sponsor, but because I actually truly endorse their product and I love what they're doing. And they've been doing it for over 100 years. Get that? Wild. Anywho, so we're talking about the temperatures. So we're going to be looking at sun as well as like the dehydration. So of course, the obvious, wear your sunscreen, be smart during the day. And again, this is where the fun factor comes in. If you want to go experience everything, do all the things, just take good care of yourself. Keep a check-in. If you're anything like me, I get like, woo, this is fun, and completely forget paying any attention to how tired my body is, how sunburnt I'm getting. I'm just in the moment. So really be aware of surroundings, the moment, how tired, like how much your expenditure of energy is going out before you even have to start thinking about your show and that night or what have you. Like I said, avoid the caffeine, careful of what kind of teas you're drinking. Obviously, alcohol is going to dry you out like crazy. Save it till after the show if you can. And even then, I would be mindful, especially considering what you've got the following day. Like, just take care of yourself. So warming up and cooling down is a no-brainer. I am going to provide you with a few resources in the very next episode where you can just follow through a pre-show warm-up. And I'm also going to take you backstage and give you kind of a rundown of how to manage things like talking loud in the crowd, backstage, green rooms, meet and greets. All of that is coming up in the second episode where we can just run through drills and get your voice ready. But I still want to cover here things that are going to impact your voice while you are on the road. So strategic rest is really important as well. So we are talking about loud crowds, lots of fans. People might spot you and then you're like, now I've got to talk to everyone. Lots of loud music and ambient sound that you have to speak over. So just be really mindful of the environment in which you are interacting, in how you're managing your day to day. Make sure you have peaceful space to go to. And if you are doing meet and greets and all of that kind of stuff, do your best to sort of manage and advocate for yourself that they are in areas where you don't have to shout super loud to actually communicate with people that you're meeting. And that might also be like, this might not necessarily be such large scale. I've talked about this as well in like pub gigs and when you're doing smaller shows and your fans are all there, or it's like a hometown show and your friends and family are all there and you're like after the show just shouting at each other, and that can actually be the thing that fries the voice versus the 2-hour show beforehand. Keeping in mind that like being super soft with your voice too, whispering is actually quite hard work on the voice, so just make sure that you're speaking at a really neutral, comfortable sound when you are interacting and all of that kind of stuff. I just have this vision of like, so we have the Calgary Stampede here, and it's like a big kind of fairground is set up, so there's all the rides, and you can just imagine the background noise, like the roller coasters are going, the ding dongs of all the
games where you're throwing things and smashing plates and all of that stuff. The carnival stuff is going on and people screaming, and then there's shows going on in the background and people are cheering. So the background noise just is going to elevate how you're speaking just while you're cruising around in that area. So to my artists who are performing Stampede this year, just be aware of the environments prior to going on stage, and what you're surrounded by. Also thinking about all of those kind of carnival trucks and all the junk that they're pumping out of their engines and stuff that we're walking through, and the fumes and the smells and the cooking and the stuff. So just be aware of all the stuff that's in the air there going on. Other things that we need to think about: time zones. Making sure you are getting your mindful rest. If you're tired, rest. You can fight the time zones if you're going to be somewhere that's, for a while, but tour schedule it's a different time zone of its own. Whether you're not really going out of a time zone, a tour schedule can just throw things out of whack anyway. So just get into the groove, go with it. Try not to fight things too much, because that's going to get your brain fired up and panicking about going to sleep, and then you're lying in bed worrying about being asleep, and then you don't sleep. So just cruise. Listen to some relaxing meditations on YouTube or something, some sleep meditation things. I love those. They might not be your vibe, but give it a try. Or do some breath work. Breath work really helps for me to fall asleep, just like breathing in for 4 and then out for 6, or in for 4, out for 8. And I try and do that 10 times. I never make it to 10. I always fall asleep. So breath work, where your out breath is longer than your in breath, can help you relax and get you to sleep. The other thing, of course, is diet. We've mentioned the carnival element, and maybe it's hard to resist all the deep fried goodness and all of the treats and snacks and things that you're going to be passing by. The other factor is, even when it's really healthy food, if you are touring further than, your home territory, you're going to be introducing your body to things that it's not used to. So you're going to be trying new foods, new flavors, new spices, all of that kind of stuff. So just be aware of what might throw things out of the loop. I can't remember who it is. I want to say it was Michael Jackson, which makes me think this is a little bit out there, because I would assume he had a private chef who provided him absolutely anything that he wanted. But there's rumors of artists touring and only eating McDonald's, because that's the one thing that they can get in every country that's pretty much the same everywhere, just so not to throw things off course. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but you do you. But yeah, make sure that you have your comforts as well. If there are things that you are able to travel with, if you're crossing borders and stuff, obviously be mindful of that. Don't get yourself in trouble bringing weird things across the border. But yeah, being aware that if you are traveling, your diet is going to shift too, unless maybe you're one of the rare listeners who travels with their personal chef. If so, let's talk. Medication, if you're on any specific medication regularly, or perhaps because you're traveling, because you got sick, you've been given something random, just keep in mind that there are medications that can affect the voice in different ways. So just maybe if there's a doctor that's prescribing a big run of something for you, just do a quick check and see how that's going to impact your voice. There are sites that you can check that are a little more reliable than Google. I'll try and find the link and put it in the show notes for you. Please reach out if you'd like to see that, because there is a very good site where you can check all of this that's quite well verified. So let me know if you'd like to see that. I will try and find it and put it in the show notes for you as well. Hormones, stress are huge factors on the voice. They are probably the top thing that shows up when I'm in a session with a client and I'm like, okay, your voice isn't sounding, something's up with your voice today, but you're not sick. Is there stress going on in your life? If so, that's generally probably the first thing to show through with the voice. So tour equals stress. No matter how used to it you are, you're changing environments and everything's different. You're not with your usual people. You might be with your usual road people, but it's a shift, right? So keep in mind of your stress and do what you can to work with that and moderate your stress. And that again comes into like sleep, diet, mindful rest, like being really strategic with your resting your body and your voice. Massages, if you're able to get massages, if you're staying in hotels where they have a spa or something like that. I know these things are expensive. Sometimes you might have healthcare that would cover it. Massages are fantastic for the body, especially when you're on the road, lugging gear around, on and off buses, perhaps not sleeping in the best environments. If you can get a massage, it will really impact your voice. I do have a voice health handbook. I will put the link as well in the show notes if you're interested in checking that out. It's also got like a fillable journal, because I think it's really important to keep an eye on what you're eating, when you're eating, and you'll be able to kind of see a correlation of like, did that throw my voice off? Why does my voice feel weird? What did I do today that was different? And you can start to really see the factors that are impacting your voice in a real-time way. So there's like checklists and fillable journals for like food, stress, sleep, all of that kind of stuff. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. We talked a bunch about environment. I want to also mention allergies. With summer, spring, all of that kind of stuff comes pollen, all the other things, and maybe in different environments there are different things that you might find yourself allergic to. Be mindful of any allergy meds. They can be very drying too. So again, the Navage, steam, inhalation, all of that kind of stuff, the more natural you can keep it, the better, unless obviously we have to weigh pros and cons. So if you're having a horrific allergy reaction to something, please do take care and seek the right medical attention. But just do be mindful that if you have like runny nose and stuff and you take allergy pills for that, it can really dry you out, which will impact the voice. So make sure you're balancing. If you do have to take medication for allergies, so that to stop runny nose, runny eyes, all that stuff, hydrate. The hydration will also help flush too. So just keep that in mind with regards to seasonal and situational allergies too. The other thing that's really important is to sort of know when to say no. So if your voice is feeling tired and raspy and you do have an opportunity, or the option can be rest versus having to just keep going with the crew, keep doing all the stuff, please, take your time for that rest. And FOMO is real. People are going to want to be going and doing more things after shows, before shows, what have you. Just make sure that you're checking in and you are aware of how much your body can handle. Again, taking time for the things that can help you with maintaining your voice health, things like nebulizers, taking time for steam. I am obsessed with tea, which is obviously why I'm really excited about the Vocal Zone teas that have come out. Things like carrying a box of the Vocal Zone throat pastels. I want to tell you a bit about this stuff because it really is A, it tastes good, B, it works, and it's just really handy to have. So the throat pastels are specifically formulated to relieve irritation from excessive speaking or singing. So they're going to help you with all that socializing, the before and after the show in loud venues and stuff, and they'll help you keep your voice clear. Vocal Zone have been doing this since 1912. So there's a bit of like, they're established and they know what they're doing, and some of the most iconic artists of all time have relied on Vocal Zone. So one of the things that sets them apart is that they don't contain any anesthetic. Now that's where things can get scary, because the anesthetic can mask any underlying damage or issues, so you're not going to unknowingly sing on and cause more issues, right? So you're not going to numb it out, blast your voice, not feel any strain or pain. It's actually going to allow you to keep full control of that, but actually feel better while you're doing it. Their blend of ingredients is really unique, and the taste is unique too. The original pastels, I have to say, like I said, I always had a box of them in my bag when I was in music school and when I was touring, when I was a younger artist. Not like it's an acquired taste, but now they've got a whole line of new flavors that are really, really good. The teas taste delicious and the pastels are good too. So I like to use one before and after icing. Sometimes people have them mid-performance, and they obviously don't replace a good warm-up or proper technique, but they will help your vocal care routine and take it to the next level. So if you are looking for, a bit of confidence to have something in your back pocket, literally, in addition to your voice care toolkit, Vocal Zone is going to be your new best friend. So I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put the links in the show notes. So these are things that you can take with you on tour. Singing straws are fantastic as well. The straw and water therapy. Going to talk about all that in the next episode, and you can follow along with all of this stuff. But I did want to share today about some things to really keep in mind. I'm going to kind of narrow it down. I had said this was like 5 tips, but I just kind of went on a tangent for you. Top 5 tips essentially. 1, hydrate. 2, warm up and cool down. You know that already. You're here. 3, strategically resting your voice. 4, being aware of your environment. We talked about the dusty roads, outdoor stages. There's also things like, wildfire smoke now, AC. So just if you need to, and we all went through that phase back in 2020, if you need to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to inhale dust and smoke, wear a mask and just kind of give your voice a bit of a rest. And if the air is smoky or dusty, hydrate even more. Flush. And the steam, and like I said earlier, like a Navage thing. Of course, Vocal Zone pastels or tea, stuff like that you can carry with you on the road. And again, knowing when to say no. I am useless at that. If there's fun to be had, I'm the front of the line, even when I'm exhausted, which sometimes gets me into a bit of burnout trouble. But so just be aware of that. And know that there's always more fun around the corner. And you don't want to blow your voice out and feel hoarse and sad that your show was rubbish because you had too much fun going on the roundabouts and spinny go rounds at the fair. Take care of your voice. If you're like, I'm going to check out this epic roller coaster, and then you scream for a solid 2 minutes, that's probably not the best thing to do for your voice. Take good care of yourself out there, remembering all of those factors. I'll give you the link to the Voice Health Handbook, and also please do check out the Vocal Zone products, because if you can have something like that in your bag, in your gig bag, and it will soothe your throat, help you get going. And also, again, the really important thing is just so that it's not going to numb it, and you're not going to put yourself in a sketchy situation by having a completely numb throat, which is never a good thing. Check all of that out. Please reach out if you have any questions. Another thing that I love to do is work with my touring artists. Is I'll put together a touring kit for them with warm-ups, cool-downs, basically that's personalized for them, because obviously I can't be on the road with everyone all the time as much as I would love to be. I put together a little kit for them so that they have everything that they need backstage, pre and post show. So if that's something you're interested in, we can set up a session, figure out what you need, and then I'll put together your tour kit. Let me know. Make sure that you have one though. And even if you have a coach who can put that together for you, or if you can put one together yourself and then you create like a specific amount of time. I'm going off on a tangent again. Sorry, I was kind of wrapping this up, but I have more to share. Time, pre-show. One of the artists that I've toured with, Jess Moskaluk, love her. She's also been on the podcast a couple of times. Check out her issues. Check out Jess's issues. Okay, I'm going to leave that in because Jess is going to laugh about that. Check out her episodes. So yeah, I've thrown myself off now. Jess, she is really strategic. Pre-show, she will take, I think it's like an hour, where it's basically lockdown with her band. There's no meet and greety type stuff, no friends, no industry kind of like, I've come to say hi before the show stuff. It's like, nah, this hour pre-show, this is just me, the band, our time, get our heads in our space and just get ready for the show. And also they'll do some warming up and some vocal stuff. So I think that's really important to establish a routine. It doesn't have to be a full hour. It doesn't have to be full lockdown. It can just be like, okay, I take my 15 minutes at this time before the show to just go warm up my voice or to go do some breathing exercises. Perhaps you get performance anxiety, or perhaps you just get overstimulated and really excited. Maybe some breath work is something that you should do before, just to really regulate your body. Maybe getting hyped up. Maybe you want to go do like some, cardio, get yourself ready to hit the stage, high energy, warming up, stretching, things like that. Create your specific strategy pre-show. Figure out if there's something that you feel is missing, or if you feel is too much of, and find that balance before you get on stage so that you are going in at optimal. Absolutely set yourself up for success. We don't think about that. We hustle, we get here, we're somewhere new, we're checking in, we got to go load in, we got to go sound check, we're meeting new people, we're doing all these things, blah, blah, blah. The brain is just going through all the stuff. And then it's like, oh, finally, here's the moment where I have to do my job. But you just add that time to the schedule. Make it part of the run of the day. Make it just part of the day, so that you have that for yourself. Remember, you're the one behind the mic. You're the one that keeps the motor running. You're the reason people are there. So please prioritize that. Take care of yourself. Take care of your voice. And tune in to the next episode, and I will just get you ready to hit the stage. We're going to do some breath work. We're going to do some warm-ups. I'm going to include a cool down. And I'm also probably going to give you a bit of a lecture on backstage survival, essentially, dealing with meet and greets, people, fans, noises, industry, all the interruptions that come and throw themselves at you when you are backstage. And there's a reason that space is behind the stage. So we need to make sure we honor that for ourselves. I'm already going off about it. Anyway, tune into the next episode and take care of your voice. Reach out if you need anything. Emma at rockitvocalstudios.com. That's ROCKIT vocalstudios.com. Follow on Instagram, Rocket Vocal Studios. And I would love to chat with you. Let me know how you're getting on. Good luck out there. Have fun. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe. It helps other listeners just like you discover the show. Also, I'd love you to follow along on social media. It's Rocket Vocal Studios. That's ROCKIT Vocal Studios. If you have any questions at all, I am here for you and your voice. Email me, Emma at rocketvocalstudios.com. Would love to chat. If you ever want a session, if you want to nerd out about the voice, I am here for you. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day. We'll see you next time.